So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guy here. Ask him to introduce himself and let the people know where you're from and how you came to Canada.
Thank you very much for that introduction, my noble friend, Alwyn McGill. I've heard of you before, but we haven't had the privilege of being so close. My name is JC McDonald, and I have been a broadcaster for an extended period of time. I started my broadcast career in Trinidad, Sunshine, Trinidad. I'm forever thankful to some of the wonderful people I've worked with, names like June Gonzalez, Ken Gordon, and now my brother, Sir Trevor McDonald. But although they were very wonderful in terms of encouraging me, I had to work very hard to have accomplished some degree of recognition. And I did that. How I came to Canada, there were some guys floating for Carnival down in Trinidad. And apparently there was a difficulty factor in them preparing a report to send to Toronto. So they anxiously came to me and they asked me, Mr. McDonald, could you do a report for Canada? So I was pretty anxious. And what I did, I then went to the newsroom and I did some quick work in terms of typing, you know, the old time one finger typing. Oh, yeah. I went then to the studio and asked an engineer who was hanging around, could you do this report for me? And as an announcer, the engineers sort of listened to us. We had a certain amount of authority. So I did the report and I came to Canada. But if I could go back a bit, how I got into radio at home, I started with VOR, which was the voice of rediffusion. I don't know if you know of rediffusion.
Yes, I do. Channels or one channel?
I think it was 2 channels.
Yeah.
But if my memory fails me, you would understand. I am in the I'm pretty close to 80 years of age, and I say that with no reluctance. I still feel energized. But what was great about my training is that I worked in the record library. I worked in the engineering staff, which is central control. I worked as an engineer spinning the records. I worked in the scripting department. I worked in the traffic department. I worked in the news department. I worked in the sales department. And you see, that gave me such a wonderful background in radio and television. I had to study classical music. I had to study Beethoven, did symphonies, 9 symphonies.
If I may, are those progressions coming up the ladder, or is that a variety of chores you had to do? Is that climbing the ladder?
I think in terms of the people who guided me, I think it was getting me very much acquainted with radio as such. Whereas in North America or in any British sense, if you're an engineer, you study that to the fullest. If you're a broadcaster, you study only that. But I had the privilege of going through various aspects. All the songs I have heard on the radio, you know, when I was young and everything, I had, you know, I worked in the library, so I used to play it at times in my moments. You know, I used to play all the songs and all the favorites I had and everything like that. So I got a very good foundation, and I worked with some wonderful people who encouraged me quite a lot. So that being said, I moved to Canada and I came and I did this report. I was well accepted, but I started at Chin Radio.
What year? What year you came to Canada? What year?
I came to 1972. I had to check my passport to tell you that.
Yeah.
And I came 1972. And it was quite difficult when I started because I was like a lone person walking, particularly with the change in climate and thing, walking with a bunch of records, some of my favorite records, and navigating through the snow and everything, climbing some stairs, which were at that time very icy. And
so we're still talking about you reporting to Chin Radio, and
yes,
and that's on College Street, right?
637 College Street.
Okay.
So I got up there, and I had some pretty wonderful engineers who, for some apparent reason, liked me. I still have to understand how I had such favorite approaches in terms of how they treated me and everything like that. But I pounded that for quite some time until West Indians caught on. And because I felt that our music was so vital, I even had Canadian operators who were engineering my show dancing to my music.
Okay, well, hold it there. When you say until West Indians caught on, what type of music you were playing when you came up?
I played essentially music from Trinidad, music from the Caribbean islands.
In that calypso or
calypso,
reggae?
soca, any stars who had any significant sort of popularity from home, I brought them here with me. Of course, I had names like the Mighty Sparrow. I had names like all the hot guys,
Okay.
you know, and I gave them Bob Marley. I gave him a tremendous amount of exposure. Peter Tosh, Jacob Miller, Culture, all these groups I highlighted because they made phenomenal music. And then I started feeling.
So question, the contract you got, the job you got in coming up to Chin Radio, was it for exclusively Caribbean music?
Well, if it was for Caribbean music, my interest was doing mainstream radio. I mean, I had that aspiration. You know, one who is born of an ocean does not sort of take up solace in rivers and tributaries, you know. So I felt, knowing the economical situation of our businesses here, I sought to gain more grounds in terms of adding the infectious music from our culture, and be it from African, because I highlighted African high life music too. I thought it was great for commercial business to any person. So my interest then was going mainstream. And then,
you know, I'll just let you know, if it's 1972, you said you came here, which is the same time I came in November. I met you in 1973 summer, Chin Picnic on the island.
oh yes.
Yeah, doing the limbo contest. I'm presenting myself as the winner of your limbo contest 1973 on the Chin Island, on the island.
Yes, I knew you were flexible.
A return trip to Jamaica.
And you got that return trip?
I claim it, and I just sold it to a friend because I was too early in the country. I didn't really want to see another country. It was still a culture shock being here.
Economical wisdom.
Yes, yes. So I met you now, and then I realized you used to come on. What was the time slots you used to come on?
Well, I started at 11 until 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
Oh, you were competing with the dances then. You were competing with the parties then.
Exactly. I did that. And it was very difficult for me to have a bit of a nightlife, because it caught on so much. It sort of went on in the week also. In the week, it was a shorter period, 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And then there was a guy by the name of Bill Payne who took over, and he was playing rhythm and blues type of thing.
Okay.
The type of WBLK stuff.
Oh, okay.
And although I had some little spots of my sort of American sounds on the, so I had a great audience in terms of doing that, because my variety was very profound. I mean, people who listened to me knew that I wanted to balance it. At times there was slight irritation, and I love them very much, but from the Jamaican community, they never really understood steel band, and they were questioning me about it. But we came to a lovely understanding that my job encompassed every Caribbean island.
Correct. And then you said in one of the preamps, you said that the program was reaching out.
The program encompassed everything. I mean, I have a friend by the name of Lennox Farrell, and he's a very popular guy, a guy I have great admiration for. And I, in recent times, heard his wife is not feeling good. So I would like to wish him everything that's pleasant, wish her everything that's special. But Lennox Farrell, Charlie Roach, names like Dudley Laws, some Johnny Cayone, Cyril Diaz, all these people I got to be very popular with. I also did, because of the popularity of the show, Caravana. I emceed most of the shows on the island. Things have really changed, and for some apparent reason, they consider me an old man, but I would like to refute that.
This is the rebound.
Look, I am humbled by that, and I thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thinking.
Yeah. About the community now. This is really a soccer generated for the history, but you're very much a big part of the history here, because as we searched, I found out that the entertainment and the sport went hand in hand for the early immigrants, right? And so we start to bring it together. And so I want to ask you, because most of the time people all end up the same place, regardless of the dimension. So besides working so hard and putting your times in, you had the opportunity to know about some of the events that have here in the sport soccer, in terms of like the IRE tournament or Flemingdon Park, or?
Yes, as you mentioned Flemingdon Park, I definitely remember that. And I don't know, for some apparent reason, when I went there, because of the image created, because I did not find anything that was threatening there, but the image created around Flemingdon Park, in terms of what I have heard, was sort of kind of scary. But there was a guy by the name of Michael, I think, Ghetto.
Yes. Yeah.
And there were some other people who invited me there, and I was there. I never announced who I was. I was always incognito type of thing. And I sit down on the grass or sit down on a bench and look at it and enjoyed it. You know, the soccer, enjoyed everything about it. I did not sort of interview many guys who have been involved in it, but it was a part of the community. What was topical, what was happening. There was the Malvern, there was people trying to start this cricket And so many little things were surfacing that did not get the type of popularity we had at home. And it was the virgin state of these things happening in North America. And so I participated in it. I was not a soccer player.
So did you go more than once? Did you?
Oh yes. I have been to Flemingdon about 5 times.
Good.
Right.
So there was reason for you to return.
Well, certainly. And when, you know, what EBGB moments were spoken of, they were quelled in that I went and it was just cool. It was a nice evening, and there was a bit of food being shared, and such beautiful Caribbean type love, and there was the aroma of a little barbecue here and there. It was not big, but it was the smell of home, and that I enjoyed, of course. I was not known, so no one offered me that famous chicken leg, but this sort of whiffs of everything which really was satisfied my appetite to return and be there, you know. Listen, there is this wonderful, I don't know if the word is convergence, where culture clashes with the beautiful aroma that comes, and the artifacts, and that pungent, beautiful smell of barbecue and everything that's wonderful. And so I walk there like if I'm in high heels, you know. I feel it's the trace of home being brought here. Like, it's literally bringing the smell here to Toronto. And with everybody happy, and the kids and family getting together, what you know, it is so beautiful. The thing I'm very concerned is about our youths. They need guidance. They need guidance in a society like this. And I feel that for some apparent reason, I have missed my calling a bit in not having been a little more or assiduously sticking to what I thought and still thinking. I see my youths not guided properly, and I see broken homes and kids have gone astray. It's terribly sentimental to me, and as I speak of it, my eyes are very moist. I seek interest in leading the way in terms of the youths of today. I feel I can contribute and bring something special. And with people like you, you know, I could encourage them a bit with soccer and cricket and ping pong and lovely things, and tell them that the world is not as sad as it looks. We can do something to uplift. But to me, they're the forgotten generation. And I would like to be a part of that. And I have no hesitancy in saying that. My kids know it. You know, I've been part of a broken home in terms of my marriage, past marriage. Fortunately, I met a very nice lady, and I've got 5 sons. And they know I strive for higher standards. I mean, not all biological, extended family. And I always try to guide them. And I'm always there. I've got friends of my kids who call me Pops. We will go to the park, and I am kicking soccer or doing things with them. And they're so fond of me, because I never I always encourage them. I always talk about their schools. I always talk about, I want the best marks from you. You can make it. You know, you know, I remember going to East York Collegiate, and seeing where 40% of Black students, after they reach a certain grade, they're walking out high school because they felt that there is such discrimination as they go, regardless if they graduate or not. And I wanted to be a part of that, to encourage them, to uplift them, my friend, because our kids are just as important as any other kids.
Correct.
And God has given me a bit of a gift, and I would love to help them. It is my supreme ambition. Before I close my eyes, I would love to have quite a few people guided in. And if there's anyone who's listening, I'm always welcome to be an advisor in a humble way. I have not been qualified in any distinction or any, but I have the warmth and I have the interest in guiding them, you know, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm not talking too much.
No. Expressing yourself, and the people need to know how you felt when you were there. So, what's now for you? I mean, how long you stopped doing the broadcast live? When did you leave?
I have never been out of it.
No, when did you leave Chin Radio?
I don't even, it was about, I did 11, 12 years with Chin, right? And as a result, I just declined the call there. I did about 12 years at Chin, and then I did some work mainstream with City TV. I was the voice of space over and beyond.
Okay.
After interviewing 85 people in Ontario, I don't know why they selected me, but I did that for a year until there was a guy who felt that he should have done it. He was Canadian, and for some apparent reason, he ended up getting it.
Okay. That's how
I want to describe it very carefully but I knew gutturally what happened.
Hello too.
Yeah, we can figure. I don't know why you're sounding a bit faint, but
no, I'm good. So you after CDTV, where did you go?
I've done myriads of things. I was on Channel 47 for a while doing a presentation. I did several commercials which were used on CHFI and various other stations, and my voice had been used on several projects. And there's something I didn't really mention. I did two very popular films, The Right and the Wrong, which was a bit of wisdom or visionary in terms of a guy from India by the name of Harbans Kumar, who was showing what happened to slaves at home and indentured laborers from India. So I did two films and they were shown, one at the Vaughan Cinema at one time. So that being said, you know, I remain available in terms of doing voice work. I've been doing quite a few little bits here and there on the internet, but I have been asked to do an internet program. The guy has created this studio, and he says he knows I can bring in quite a lot of money. I don't believe this, but I think I'll be doing that pretty soon. And currently I'm doing a podcast with a young lady who is a yoga expert, a therapist on Limitless, and she's just a beautiful young lady. And she's had some reputed people like Jan Arden and Bob Ray and all these people I don't know how I fall into that sequence, but she has invited me, so I'm a bit of an installation on that project. So this is where I am, and humbly, I would love to do more. I find that radio today, it's wonderful, but I find that some of the broadcasters do not have soul. They just sort of, I feel that I may have a different way in approaching people, particularly at the times we're living in. I feel I can lift a little more, but I'm not comparing to compare. One gets vain and bitter. I'm not into comparison. I'm not saying I'm good or better, but I feel I can do something.
So, JC, that's well said. And I want to thank you for giving me the time today. And hope what you can be part of the program and moving forward.
I would love that, and I thank you graciously. I am humbled by the thought of you considering me for your project, and I'd like to wish you all the best. And I know evidently by what you're doing, it's destined for higher places. And I wish you in humility all the best.
Thank you.
It has been a